Now we are going to start lesson 3.1, exploring polynomial functions. So let us start with the example of a polynomial function. Fx equals 3x to the power 4 plus 5x to the power 3 plus x to the power 2 plus 9x to the power 1 plus 17x to the power 0. Now I chose this 4. That is my arbitrary decision. I could have chosen this as 5, 7, 50, doesn't matter. The power or the exponent over here, right, power of x, the exponent over here decreases continuously by 1 at a time. So we are exploring the characteristics of this polynomial. The variable is x in each case, right? This number doesn't have any pattern. Yeah, they are coefficients. So here the coefficient is 3, here it is 5, here the coefficient is 1, 9 and 17. Now, if I simplify this, then x raised to 0 is 1. So I can rewrite this as fx equals 3x raised to 4 plus 5x cubed plus x squared plus 9x plus 17. I can still show 1 here. Okay. This 3, 5, 1, 9 and 17, they are whole numbers in this case, right? Or rather I would say they are natural numbers. But I could have any real numbers in these places. So another function gx, for example, is also a polynomial, and that gx function could be like this. So based on this information, I can make a generic function, a generic polynomial function as fx equals an x raised to n plus an minus 1 x raised to n minus 1 plus an minus 2 x raised to n minus 2 plus a2 x squared plus a1 x raised to 1 plus a0 x raised to 0. Now, of course, this x raised to 0 is again 1. So I can simplify the last one. Now, what is this last one? When I say last one, it is basically a term. You learned that in grade 9. Each of these are terms. Yes. So the last term can be simplified as a0 because x raised to 0 is 1. Now the value for n, if you see, the value for n, the minimum value is 0 and the maximum value can be anything. So, but certainly the value for n are neither fractions nor decimals nor irrationals, right? They are whole numbers. So when we say that the value for n varies, increases starting 0 to infinity, I can say that n belongs to W, whole numbers. But value of A could be any real numbers. So I can say that A belongs to R. Okay. This A could be any A, an minus 1, etc., etc., any A. So A belongs to R. Now this n, you might feel that, okay, there is some relation when I say an x raised to n, right? So we have n here, we have n here. We have n minus 1 here, we have n minus 1 here, n minus 2 here, n minus 2 here. So you might feel that there is some kind of relation between this an and xn. So you might also feel that if n is, for example, 5, then this an has to be some predefined number based on n equals 5. That is not true. All I am saying is that when I use n here, it means this is the coefficient, an is a coefficient associated with x raised to n. So if n is 5, this will turn fx into, for example, a5 x raised to 5 plus a4 x raised to 4 plus a3 x raised to 3 plus a2 x squared plus a1 x raised to 1 plus a0 x raised to 0, but x raised to 0 is 1. So all this formula, this equation indicates is that my value of A is this an is associated with the highest degree, and then my degree decreases by 1 each time, and my A is associated with the subsequent lower degrees. But A5 could be 1.3 and A4 could be square root of 9, or 9 is 3, but let's go for 11. Or A3 could be 529, or A2 could be 99 over 287, anything, right? So there is no relation between A5, A4, A3, A2, A1 and A0. But this 5 is an exponent of x and it decreases by 1. So you can see some sort of pattern here as a power of x. But that pattern does not exist when we talk about A values. Clear? The second topic is the definition of a polynomial function, which we have covered over here. Okay, so that part is covered. Now we'll go for this third topic, degree of a term. We learned in grade 9 that the degree of a term is the sum of all the exponents of variables. So for example, if you have 3 a squared b, then the degree of this term, this is a term because the variables are multiplied by each other and that is multiplied by some constant. So constant may be there or may not be there. But this, there is no addition or subtraction. So this is a term. The variable part is a squared b, and a has exponent 2, b has exponent 1. So 2 plus 1 equals 3. So 3 is the degree of this term. Now, the polynomial is made up of multiple terms, right? For each term, there is a degree associated with that term. So the degree of this term is 4, degree of this term is 3, 2, 1, and 0. The highest degree in this polynomial is 4. So this 4 is called the degree of the polynomial. So degree of a polynomial is the highest degree in the polynomial. In this particular case, it is 4. The next topic is the finite differences. I think in grade 9 or 10, you learned about finite differences for the first time for the linear functions. So let us take an example of one linear function. Fx equals 2x plus 1. Now, because this is a linear function, its default domain is x belongs to R. So I am going to make a table of x versus y. X values, I am going to start from say 0. Let's make it easy. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Y values 1, 5, 9, 13, 17, and 21. Now pay attention. The x values are evenly distributed. So every time I am increasing the x value by 2 in this case. This is mandatory. You cannot have uneven distribution on the values for x in this table. I'll fix this. When you have evenly distributed x values, then you can check the y values. Now, the finite difference is the difference between the following y value to the previous y value. So 5 minus 1 equals 4. I am subtracting the values of y. This is the first time I am doing it. So this is my first difference. Nine minus 5 equals 4. 13 minus 9 equals 4. And similarly, you have first difference 4 here as well as here. Now you can see that my first difference is always 4. So my first difference is constant, 4. When your first difference is constant, the polynomial has degree of polynomial equals 1. So I can verify this here. The degree of this polynomial is 1, right? X raised to 1 and x raised to 0. So the highest degree of this polynomial is 1. And this I can verify by finding the first difference and checking if the first difference is constant or not, which is constant in this case, 4, right? If my second finite difference is constant, then the degree of that polynomial is 2. If the third finite difference is constant, then the degree of that polynomial is 3. And same is true for nth finite difference. Then the degree is n. Now I want you to verify this rule of finite difference for, I have mentioned quadratic function here, but let us go for a little bigger degree. Say fx equals x cubed plus 2x squared plus x minus 4. Okay. So the degree of this polynomial is 3. So your third finite difference has to be constant. You can choose the same values for x, 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. I want you to do that way so that we can compare the answers, right? So go for these values of x and tell me what is your third finite difference and whether it is constant or not. So we practiced this one. There are more practice problems I can give you. Just a minute. So now I have given you three tables rather. And in each of this, you can see that the value for x is evenly distributed, right? It increases by the fixed number in each of these cases. So in these cases, you can find out the finite difference, first, second, third, and see what is the degree of each of these polynomials. I am telling you that these tables are made up from the polynomial functions. So you have to figure out the degree of the polynomial for each of the tables. So please go ahead and then we can see if all of you have got the same answers or not. Okay, what is your answer, Dhruv? For the first one?
It has a degree of 2.
What is the degree here?
2.
What is the degree here?
4.
Okay, guys, all of you have got this same answer or not? Anybody has got different answer, then we can share the actual work. No, right? Okay, I can't see all of you. So Sanjana, no, Sanjana I could see. Rupal, You got the same answer? Okay. All right. So we are done with more practice problems. Okay. Let me now change this. All right. Okay. Now I want to share something very important. You know that if say fx equals 3x cubed plus x squared plus x to the power 1 plus 9, for example, then you know that this is a polynomial. But say your function is gx equals 9x to the power 5 plus 2x squared plus 4. Now, is this a polynomial or not? Because you do not have all the possible exponents that should be, right? You do not have the exponent 4, 3, 1. So is this a polynomial or not? The answer is that this is also a polynomial. So how is this a polynomial? So let us write this down in the standard polynomial definition form. Gx equals 9x to the power or x raised to 5 plus 0 x raised to 4 plus 0 x cubed plus 2x squared plus 0 x raised to 1 plus 4. So I could write this polynomial in this form. But can I write that way? I can, because the a values are all the real numbers. And when I represent it in this form, my missing exponents appears over here. Get my point? Now comes the next topic, the leading coefficient. For each of the terms in the polynomial, they have two parts. One is a constant part and other is a variable part. The constant part is called the coefficient of the term. This is a special case where 4 is multiplied by basically 1, right? So this 4 can also be called as constant term. But when the variables are present, then the constant part is called the coefficient of the term. Now comes the leading coefficient. The constant part of the term having the highest degree is called the leading coefficient. So in this case, the leading coefficient is 3. In this case, the leading coefficient is 9. Clear? Any questions on this? Good. Next is, what is a factorial? Factorial of a natural number. So any number, let us say 5. Factorial of 5 is represented as 5 and then exclamatory sign. And the value of this is 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 equals 20 times 3, 60 times 2, 120. So factorial of 5 or 5 factorial is 120. Find out the factorial of 6, which is written as 6 exclamatory mark equals 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. You go up to 1 and the answer is 720. I could say this so quickly because I know that 120 is 5 factorial times 6, so that is 720. Any questions on this? Now I'm going to write a very important formula. Value of the constant finite difference equals a times n factorial, where a is the leading coefficient and n is the degree of polynomial. Now this topic or this formula is not covered in Nelson, but it is covered in McGraw-Hill. And some of you are going to learn from McGraw-Hill. That's why I'm covering this one. So value of the constant finite difference, whatever value you find at the end of doing that exercise, the constant value that you find is equal to the leading coefficient times the degree of the polynomial. So now I want to highlight one extremely critical point. While finding the value of constant finite difference, I told you to make a table of x versus y, and the value of x should be evenly distributed. So I told you that you can keep the distribution equal. For example, if you start at say 2 and if the next one is 5, then the difference is 3 here. So the next one must be 8. You keep this difference 3 constant each time, and then you find out the finite differences. So it will work, but this will work to identify the degree of the polynomial. To find or to identify the degree of the polynomial, all you have to do is keep the difference between two consecutive x values same, which is 3 in this case. Okay? It could be 5, it could be 7, doesn't matter. You will still be able to identify the right degree of the polynomial. But if you want to use this formula, then the distribution has to be, the difference between the consecutive x values must be 1. So my x versus y table must have the x value. You can start it at any with any value. So you can start with say -1. It's okay. But the next one has to be 0. The difference is just 1. 0 minus -1 is 1, right? The next one is again added by 1, so 1. Next one is 2, 3 and 4. This difference has to be 1 to use this formula. So now let us verify this formula for say a quadratic function. Let us say the function is fx equals x squared. Let us keep this 2x squared. 2x squared plus 1. So what do we have here? We have the leading coefficient a equals 2. The degree of the polynomial is also 2. So n equals 2, which means n factorial equals 2 times 2, 2 times 1, sorry, equals 2. So my value of the constant finite difference has to be a times n factorial. A times n factorial, that is equal to 2 times 2, that is equal to 4. So this must be the value of the constant finite difference. So let us verify that our constant finite difference comes to 4. So let's do that. I'll make a table of x versus y. I'll keep the values for x as say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The corresponding y values will come from this equation 2x squared plus 1. So that is 1 times 2, 2 plus 1, 3. 2 times 2, 4 times 2, 8 plus 1, 9. 3 times 3, that is 3 squared, is 9 times 2, that is 18 plus 1, 19. 16 times 2, 32 plus 1, 33. And 5 squared is 25 times 2, 50 plus 1, 51. So these are the values for y. Now comes my first difference. 9 minus 3 is 6. 19 minus 9 is 10. 33 minus 19 is 14. And 51 minus 33 is 18. Now comes the second difference. 10 minus 6 is 4. 14 minus 10 is 4. And 18 minus 14 is 4. So my second difference, which is a constant, and that value matches with this 4. Does this make sense? Yeah, any questions on this? This is a bit of a tricky kind of formula. So, and you have to memorize that as well. Diya, Smriti, Nisarg, any questions? No? Okay. So we covered this one. Now comes the practice problems. So let's do that. So we have two problems here. I mean, we have tables given here. You have to find the leading coefficient. So these tables have been generated from some polynomial, right? And we don't know what is the leading coefficient. What will you be able to find from these tables? You will be able to find the value of the constant finite difference. That is the first thing that you can find using this table. And the second thing is, say for example, if your third difference is constant, then you know the degree. The degree of that polynomial is 3. If the fourth difference is constant, then the degree of the polynomial is 4. So you can find out the degree of the polynomial. So that will be the value for n. So this is your value for n. And from that n, you can find out n factorial. So you will be able to find this value and this value from these tables. And you have to find the value for a using the formula. Okay. So take your time, solve this, and let me know the answer. In fact, I have given the answer here. For the first one, the answer is 1. And for the second one, the answer is -1. And these problems have been picked up from McGraw-Hill. So if you are going to use McGraw-Hill, you may find more practice problems there in that book. So we finished this one. Now, if you look at the graph, and just by looking at the graph, if you want to say whether this function is a graph, this graph is a graph of a polynomial or not, then you need to know certain characteristics of the graph, right? So there are 3 characteristics that you should know. One is that the domain of a polynomial function is x belongs to R. The range can have either upper bound or the lower bound. But not both. So let us understand these 2 characteristics using a quadratic function. Now, I also want to highlight here that it may not have any upper or lower bounds. Okay, so that is third possibilities. That is the third possibility, no bound, no upper or lower bound. That is also possible. So we'll take two examples, the familiar ones. First is the linear function. And the second one is the quadratic function. So now, in this case, the domain is x belongs to R, and there is no bound. I mean, as the if you go for the y value goes up to positive infinity, and at lower side it goes up to negative infinity, the y value. In this case, in this second one, for this graph, you have lower bound. It doesn't go below this value for y. So this is the lowest value, lowest function value for this graph. And this is the highest function value for this graph. So this is the upper bound. Here, this is the lower bound. And this one is the upper bound. But you cannot have both upper and lower bound, which you normally see in the sinusoidal function, right? So in the sinusoidal function, you see both the upper and lower bounds. That doesn't happen in polynomial function. And there is one more characteristic, and that is the polynomial functions do not have any asymptotes. Okay, so you will not find asymptotes in the case of a polynomial function. So these are three important characteristics that can be used to identify if the graph is generated out of a polynomial function or some other function. So we covered this. Now these are the typical shapes, okay, associated with the degree. So if the degree of polynomial is 1, then the function is called a linear function and the shape is like this. But again, this is an arbitrary shape, right? The slope could be different here. If the function is a quadratic function, that is degree equals 2, then the function is called quadratic, and this is a shape, typical shape. You could have different vertical stretch or compression, and the shape will be little different. If the degree of the polynomial is 3, then the function is called the cubic function. And again, the shape depends on the other terms in the cubic function. If the degree of polynomial is 4, then the function is called quartic function. That polynomial function is a quartic function and a typical shape. And for degree equals 5, the polynomial function is called a quintic function, and this is a typical shape which is not fixed for a quintic function. We'll explore a lot about all these things in the subsequent lessons. So we are done with this last topic, and with this we are done with the whole lesson 3.1. Okay. Now I'm going to give you a few problems. We still have time. You can solve them and see if your answers are right. And your homework will be to solve all the problems from 3.1 and send it to me on Gmail.